영국의 TNT 스포츠는 웨스트햄전 이후에 토트넘 선제골의 주인공인 브레넌 존슨과 함께 인터뷰를 나눈 시간을 가졌는데요. 여기서 엔지 감독의 전술에 대한 이야기와 캡틴 손흥민에 대한 찬사가 나온 부분이 있어서 그 얘기를 먼저 전해드리려고 합니다. 참고로 출연한 패널은 첼시 레전드 미드필더로 리그에서 3번이나 우승했었던 조 콜과 토트넘 감독 출신인 글렌 호들입니다.
Can you give us a bit more insight into what Ange Postecoglou asks from his wide players and how different that is to anything you've been used to?
Yeah, it's definitely different to what I've been used to. I think, firstly, he just wants us to be high all the time and wide to try and push them back. And, he just demands different movements to get onto the ball and be in the right areas, because when we got a striker like Son, who's not probably an out-and-out striker, he can drop deep, he can do it all, to be honest. So when he kind of vacates them areas in the middle, he makes sure that us wingers have to get into them positions. And I feel like as time goes by, I think Timo's got into good areas, and I'm trying to get into them areas as well. So that's what he demands of us wingers.
For Son, it was a 400th appearance tonight. What's he like to play with? What's he like as your captain?
Oh, it's an honour to play with Sonny, honestly. I think day in, day out, he leads in his personality and his quality and how hard he works and how he is as a person. I think everyone knows how nice of a guy he is, and he's also very demanding, because a player like that much quality demands the ball, because he's the one who can score out of nothing, and he demands it of all of us to try and get in the ball, and he speaks really well for a captain as well. And I think overall as a person, he's just a great guy.
사르와 함께 손흥민 바라기로 유명한 존슨다운 인터뷰 내용이었는데요. 손흥민이 뭐든 다 할 수 있는 완성형 스트라이커고 기회가 없어도 골을 넣을 수 있는 선수라면서 엄청난 존경심을 드러냈습니다. 존슨은 2001년생으로 손흥민과 11살 차이인데 손흥민이 챔스 결승에 진출했던 시즌에 성인 무대에 데뷔한 선수입니다. 실제 성장 과정에서 손흥민을 우상으로 여겼어도 절대로 이상하지 않다는 거죠. 손흥민의 400번째 경기가 무승부로 끝나서 조금 아쉽다는 마음이 들었는데 동료이자 후배인 존슨이 극찬을 해준 걸 보니 조금이나마 흐뭇한 마음이 듭니다. 이어서 TNT 스포츠가 이번 웨스트햄전에 대해서 분석한 내용도 살펴보겠습니다.
He seems fairly happy with that point. Glenn, do you agree with that assessment that it was just that decision making in the final thirds?
Yeah, I think they found it, particularly second half, very difficult to create anything. Didn't get behind enough where they were composed to pick somebody out, and they didn't have that sort of magic little pass that was going to set somebody in. It was back across the front of West Ham. The centre-backs for West Ham would say, we'll take that all day long. You can play in front of us like that. They were protected better from their midfield, and really they didn't cause as many problems as they should have done with the amount of ball that they had. Them stats that come up, to have all that possession, 68%, and have 4 shots on target, and West Ham had 4 shots on target with 38%, so it just shows you how well they defended.
Do they
West
need
Ham.
the James Maddison back to full peak powers that they had from the start of the season? He hasn't quite come back from his injury the same just yet.
Yeah, that will come. You know, when you're playing in that position, you know, sometimes you have games where there's a lot of ball coming to you, and there's runners and the decision making. But you're playing in the business end of the pitch. You have no space to operate in, and you've got to make something happen. So James Maddison will come back and get to his very top level. I think tonight, if I was a Tottenham supporter, I'd be sitting there thinking, imagine if we'd have had Harry Kane in this team. Because at times they just needed that ability just to pick a cross out and someone off. I was surprised Richarlison, we didn't see him earlier, because for Mavropanos and Zuma it was too easy. Son was dropping off them, and like they were being patient and decision making, but when they got there, the amount of times I looked up and I thought, man, the occupation of the box wasn't right. The first 15, 20, 30 minutes they really done well with that. Bodies were in the box, they were flooding in, and West Ham were at times looked overrun in there. But then as the game went on, and you needed that second option, I think the centre forward is somebody who's can really improve this squad.
정리해보면 올 시즌 토트넘의 고질적인 문제인 로우 블럭에 또 당했다는 내용인데요. 상대팀 센터백들과 공중볼 싸움을 해도 이길 만한 중앙 공격수가 크로스를 받아주던지 아니면 뒷공간을 향한 창의적인 패스를 통해서 밀집 수비의 균열을 만들어야 한다는 건데 이건 손흥민이 해결할 수 없는 문제입니다. 다음 시즌에 합류할 스웨덴의 천재 미드필더 베리발에게 한번 기대를 걸어보시죠. 이어서 비카리오의 치명적인 약점인 코너킥 수비에 대해서도 말이 나옵니다.
So it lifted the fans recognised, didn't they? Every time you have a set piece, the fans were like, you get a sense that that it's going to happen. So he needs to improve that, Visara himself, with his coach, and he's a young goalie and he can, but I think they may need to build something around him, you know, someone in there whose job is specifically to clear the decks, as they say, so that your goalkeeper can come and claim it.
Because he's so good in so many other areas of his game, Glenn. But how concerning is that weakness that we keep seeing?
It is a concern because then he starts to worry about it. You can tell that every time there's a corner, this crowd got up anyway, but you could tell it was going to be an in-swinger. It was going to be put under that crossbar. He doesn't look assured. He doesn't come and ever take the ball. If he does get there, it's a flap. It's like the end off the end of his knuckles a couple of times. It's not composed. He's on the back foot. His body shape is going backwards a lot of the times, where he's got to go forward and he's got to take a few whacks, and he'll get protected if he comes for it with the fouls. But Joe's right. Somebody else has got to go in there and actually be a bit physical with the guy that goes in there. But this is something he's got to put right. They've got to put it right, because every team that plays Tottenham now, they're just going to put bodies in there, in-swinger, and get what we call like a cheap goal, really, in many ways. And it was, it's come off the back of Zuma.
잊으셨을 수도 있지만 비카리올은 올 시즌이 프리미어리그 데뷔 시즌인 새내기입니다. 나이도 아직 27살로 아주 창창하니까 패널들의 말처럼 충분히 극복 가능한 문제고요. 어쩌다 보니 전해드린 내용이 전반적으로 토트넘에 불리한 내용인 듯한데, 상대방이 라인 낮추고 밀집 수비하면 고전한다, 골키퍼는 코너킥 방어에 취약하다 등등 마치 토트넘이 약팀이라고 하는 것 같잖아요. 하지만 분석 방송의 결론은 토트넘이 최종 4위를 할 거란 내용이었습니다. 조콜은 첼시 출신의 공격형 미드필더이기 때문에 굳이 토트넘 편을 들 이유가 없는 사람인데도, 진행자가 최종 토트넘의 순위를 묻자 내 생각엔 토트넘이 4위를 할 것 같다. 토트넘은 시즌 초에 모두를 놀라게 할 만한 실력을 보여줬고, 엔지 감독이 어떤 인물인지 모두 알게 됐다. 아스톤 빌라가 유럽 대항전을 치른다는 점도 간과하면 안 된다. 그들은 이런 일정에 익숙하지 않은 작은 팀이다라면서 토트넘이 4위를 할 거라고 예측했거든요. 고래도 이 예상에 동의합니다. 어차피 앞으로 남은 8경기 중에서 리버풀, 아스날, 맨시티를 상대하는 건 똑같고, 토트넘은 탑6 팀들끼리의 맞대결만 보면 7전 3승 3무 1패로 성적이 가장 좋습니다. 통계 전문 매체인 옵타에서 조사를 했더니 탑6 팀들끼리 붙었던 성적만 모아보면 토트넘과 아스날이 승점 12점으로 가장 높고, 맨시티 10점, 아스톤빌라 9점, 맨유 8점에 의외로 리버풀이 7점으로 저주했죠. 그리고 우리에겐 강팀 킬러 손흥민이 있으니까 더 자신감 가지고 응원해도 될 것 같습니다. 우선 다시 찾아올 주말 경기 노팅엄부터 미안할 만큼 골 폭격해 봅시다. 다들 손흥민 시대 들으면서 같이 응원하시죠. 소니의 시대를. 이상 흰수염고래였습니다. 감사합니다.